Okay, NTW 103 final. Let's begin. Let's go here. What is the ipconfig command? What are IPv4 addresses, subnet mask, and default gateway? And what do all of these mean? Well, IPv4 address, subnet mask, and default gateway all tie into ipconfig. So when we type it in here, ipconfig, I can't type it in because every time I click on command prompt and click off of it, it ends my OBS recording for some reason. I don't know why. But anyways, let's start with IPv4 address. So the IPv4 address is a unique address assigned to your device on a network, and it allows you to communicate with other devices in that network. Your subnet mask determines which part of the IP address represents the network and which part represents the device. So basically, these three octets right here represent basically the network, and the last octet represents which host portion I am. So like I'm 0 because I'm the only one on here. So yeah, your default gateway right here allows you to communicate with the internet and stuff. So basically it's an IP address that allows you to communicate with external devices outside your local network, typically with like a router, and it acts as an access point or a gateway. And like I said, it sends your data through external networks such as the internet. So yeah. Question number 3, what is netstat, and specifically what is the flag A? So let's scroll down. When we type in netstat flag A, our protocol is the transmission control protocol right here for all of them. We can see that. We can see our local addresses showing each IP address plus our ports as well with the colon. We can see the foreign address with the name on which it's connected to with the IP address and whether it's listening or if it's established. Now, if it's listening, that means it's a listening port basically. So it's waiting for incoming connections and rules basically. If it's an established one, it means someone is currently accessing whatever you're on. So like here, we established connection to the website, so someone's using it, it was me. So yeah, it's a very cool command. And it's related to the ipconfig in the sense that your default gateway helps you connect with stuff like this. Number 4, what is the URL of the locally hosted site? What is the port, IP address, and how is it related to the information you found using the ipconfig? Oh, okay. So let's start with the IP address. It's right here. We see UAT local site. 127.0.0.1. Now if we go to here, we can see we're on port what is that, 10,005. Our site domain is uat-localsite.local. And what else it was asking for? URL, the port, and oh yeah, okay, so that was everything for that. And that relates to the IP config in the sense that you need, I guess it uses DNS, the domain name system. So we kind of go over that in question 5, but essentially it needs an IP address to say, hey, this is mine. Like this is what the server's running on, and it's just how it all stays connected. Anyways, what protocol is used to facilitate the URL address bringing up a site rather than using the IP address? So like I just said, that is the domain name system, or DNS. And how that works is when you enter your URL, so for our case it would be uat-localsite.local. We enter that, and then it'd bring us to a DNS query, which basically is like a phone book, and it's seeing if the domain name registers with any IP address. Then we have the DNS resolution, and that's when it basically says, hey, if we don't have it, we don't give anything, but if we do have it, we have found the IP address. And then it'll give an IP address returned, basically telling you, hey, we found it. And then you get connection to the server showing you this. Now, from what I understand, the reason this doesn't have an IP address is because it's a sample site, and because I don't have a connection with a provider like Wix or something, where I don't have like a key, because I checked in here. I think it's in general, somewhere in here. I had to put in a key to try and make my website live, but because I can't pay for that, I can't get it up and running, basically. And I believe that's how that works, with the sense is that you don't have an IP address. Basically, this is just connected to my network. So I guess it does have maybe an IPv4 address, but it doesn't connect to my default gateway. Not allowed or this version's default gateway or whatever. So I can't access it from the quote unquote internet. This is just like a tool to help me make my website, and then I send it to like providers to hook it up almost. What protocol is used to facilitate the URL address? Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Explain what Nginx and MySQL are. So let's go over that. Nginx is a web server and a reverse proxy, and it includes handles like HTTP, HTTPS, and other network protocols. It can be used in combination with other web technologies to enhance web performances and scalability. MySQL is an open source relational database management system, or a RDBMS, and it's used to store and manage and retrieve data from websites or applications. Now, how does Nginx and MySQL work together? Well, essentially, they can work as part of a web stack and serve a dynamic website and dynamic applications. Nginx acts as the web server to handle incoming HTTP requests from users. And then in the back end, MySQL retrieves and stores the data for the database. So basically, if you're trying to access your like info page on a website, I believe Nginx will send it to like MySQL, and MySQL will get the information for that user and send it back to Nginx, and then it'll show it on that user's browser, basically. It's a lot. Why can't you access the IP address? What's preventing us from doing this? I kind of went over that. I think it's because I don't have the key to actually set up the website. And because of that, it doesn't give you any, it doesn't let you access the default gateway. It doesn't let you hook up the IPv4 address. It just kind of stays dormant. So like I think I can access it, but I don't think anyone else really can. I think that's the whole thing. Explain how you could host this site on the internet. Okay. Well, from when I watched, I'll bring this up here. This guy, he was going over it step by step. So I actually did install I'll just put it here so I can fully expand. I did put the WP Vivid backup, and then he kind of just skipped past the next step.
Same plugin on there as well. So let's do that now. So there we go.
That. He just doesn't even tell you what happens. So that was a little confusing. Anyways, basically, then he goes to...
I've already done the same thing.
I believe it's plugins. Yeah, he goes to the WD plugin. He gets his key from here. He put it like 2 hours. And then you're supposed to put this here, copy it, and then in auto migration, you're supposed to save the key, but the key isn't generated because the site cannot be added to the list because I don't have basically a provider for it, essentially. And I think that's why, and I think that's also why I don't have my IP address, or why I can't type in the IP address, because the 127 point, I think it was 0.0.1. Okay, I don't know why my OBS stops recording whenever I enter in the IP address. That's weird, but anyways, it's like a placeholder address and it doesn't work right for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's only when you generate that key and stuff is when you actually get one. But anyways, it was a fun project besides my OBS crashing because of that and my command prompt too. And I can't wait for NTW 103. I've had a really fun 7-week course just from this, and I've learned a lot so far, and I can't wait to keep learning it.